Diagnosis was almost accidental. I went to the GP after COVID for a health check and said, you know, while you're doing my blood pressure, which is normal, you've taken blood for lipids, etc., could you do a urine test? And it was full of glucose. So they said, you'll need to come back for an HbA1c. And I said, okay, I'd like to have a PSA test at the same time. And it was, ooh, you're going to have to talk to the GP first. So talk to the GP, goes through the wrist, did the digital rectal examination, said it's mildly swollen prostate. I will do a test for you. And then he phoned me back a couple of days later, and it was 600. Yes, 600 nanograms per mil or micrograms per litre, whatever measure you take, 600. I thought, you've got the decimal point in the wrong place. So they repeated it, and within 2 weeks it had gone above 700. So I got a call I was put in the 2 weeks program and told I probably had metastatic stage 4 prostate cancer. I said, but I feel fine. Well, we'll do the tests anyway. So bone scans, CT scans came back and again confirmed widespread bone metastases and lymph node involvement. So here's me, like the case Julian was describing, fitting well, playing golf, you know, going to the gym. And, you know, so my first comment is, why isn't there a screening program for this, right? I know the biopsies are difficult to take, but I've had biopsies taken, and apart from a bit of discomfort in the day and an infection that followed that was treated very quickly, it's actually not that bad. And then we go to treatment. So immediately following that diagnosis, I was giving some very short-term hormone deprivation therapies, a thing called bicalutamide, first in class treatment. And that was used as a cover for me then getting a long-acting 3-monthly injection. Now, why I'm telling you this is that towards the end of that 3 months after they've taken me off that cover, we found that the PSA was rising again. So I said to my oncologist, look, this is coming back up again. I think the long-acting isn't as long-acting as it should be. So he said, okay, I'll put you on a second-generation androgen deprivation therapy called enzalutamide. Now, that worked brilliantly. So in the last 5 months since my initial diagnosis, the level of PSA has fallen by 99%. It's gone from that peak of 700 to around about 5 now. And the follow-up bone scan has shown that the density of signal has gone down in existing METs, and there's no new METs. So actually, that treatment has been very, very effective. So then the third aspect I'd like to briefly mention is genetics. And it's all back to Julian and Dick again. The PPV panel that I joined in September, we met face-to-face for the first time in September. And at that meeting, I met Gemma Gunn and Joe Lowry and United Against Prostate Cancer. So from talking to them, I got enrolled in the study that Julian mentioned to look at somatic DNA. So the somatic DNA has been looked at, and 16 genes are normal, including BRCA1, BRCA2. Some greatly relieved. But something else was done using a thing called TSO 500, and that spotted a change in a gene called BRAF. So I've got a mutation in BRAF, G469A, which is seen in probably about 1% or so of prostate cancer, so it's relatively rare. But I think that explains why I may have metastatic disease with very few symptoms. So it's been quite an aggressive disease, I guess, but I think it's down to this mutation. Now, what's exciting, again, as Julian says, BRAF is something that's been targeted with some precision medicines, particularly in lung and melanoma, and it has good effect, but it's not that durable. So one of the challenges is getting a durable response with some of these things. But most exciting for me is the fact that some of these studies are beginning to use immunotherapies as well. So although I was told initially that my cancer was incurable, and that's the dogma, the number surviving, as Julian pointed out, is now about 50% over 5 years. That's gone up dramatically in 2 or 3 years from 20% and less. And I think that number will increase because we can start to look at cures with immunotherapies and combination therapies. So I'm putting my hand way, way up to say, yes, I want to be involved in those studies that will combine treatments against BRAF and with immunotherapies to try and cure my cancer. And on that front, again, Julian put me in touch with the Royal Marsden, Professor Eales there, and she has been excellent in getting me involved in some of their studies. I'll be involved in Barcode because I don't qualify for the diagnostic aspects of the work she's doing. So somatic sequencing, absolutely Julian. Targeted treatments, absolutely Julian. Living with cancer, absolutely Julian. I will die with it, but not from it. So thank you for your attention.